Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are stripping away the noise. We're stripping away the comfort. And if I'm being totally honest, we're probably going to strip away a few of your excuses too. We are looking at a stack of research and source material centered around a book that doesn't really feel like a book. It feels more like a weapon.
It really does. I mean, even physically, if you hold the hard copy of this thing, it's heavy, it's imposing.
It is.
It's titled Discipline Equals Freedom, Field Manual. And the author, Jocko Willink, isn't exactly a life coach in the traditional sense. He's not here to hug you.
No, not at all. And that title, Discipline Equals Freedom, it's the hook, right?
Yeah.
It just stops you in your tracks because it sounds like a paradox.
It does. It sounds like an oxymoron.
It sounds like an oxymoron. I think for most of us, if we're being honest, our intuitive definition of freedom is the absence of discipline. Freedom is sleeping in until noon. Freedom is eating the entire pizza. Freedom is, binge watching a show on a Tuesday night because no one is there to tell you not to. We equate freedom with license.
That is the default cultural setting. We view freedom as doing whatever I want, whenever I want. But the core thesis of this source material, and it is a relentless, hammering thesis, is that the version of freedom you just described is actually a trap.
A trap? How so?
It's a mirage. Jocko argues that doing whatever you want usually leads to you being a slave.
A slave?
Yeah, you become a slave to your sugar addiction, a slave to your laziness, a slave to your lack of financial security because you bought things you didn't need. You think you're free, but you're actually just a puppet of your weakest impulses.
That's a powerful reframe. So if you just follow your impulses, you aren't free. You're ruled by your impulses.
Precisely. You're ruled by the weakest parts of your nature, the parts that want comfort and ease and immediate gratification.
So the argument is that true freedom, and I'm talking about, having the physical capacity to hike a mountain without collapsing, or the financial freedom to not panic over a surprise bill.
Right. Or just the mental freedom to not be controlled by chemicals or dopamine loops from your phone.
Yes, that freedom, it has a price tag.
Exactly. And the currency you pay with is discipline. That is the equation. You purchase freedom with discipline.
Okay, before we get into the how, because this is a literal field manual, it has workouts and diet plans, and we are going to cover all of that, we need to set the stage on the who.
Video.
Because the tone of this book is, well, it's intense. It's not 5 steps to a happier you. It feels like orders.
To understand the tone, you have to understand Jocko Willink. He's a retired Navy SEAL officer. He spent 20 years in the teams.
20 years.
Yeah, and he commanded Task Unit Bruiser in Ramadi, Iraq, during some of the most violent urban combat of the entire Iraq War.
So this is a guy who lived in a world where a lack of discipline didn't mean you missed a deadline or got a stern talking to.
No.
It meant someone died.
It meant someone died. The stakes were ultimate.
The stakes were ultimate.
And that gravity, that weight, it just bleeds into the aesthetic of the book. I was looking at the source images provided. The pages are black.
Solid black.
The text is stark white. The photos aren't stock images of people high-fiving in a conference room or, doing yoga on a beach.
No, it's gritty, black and white photography of sweat, rusted gym equipment, industrial chains, and jagged rocks.
It just looks hard. Everything about it is designed to communicate that this is not going to be easy.
It screams work. It sets the tone immediately that we aren't here to be coddled. So our mission on this deep dive is to take this military-grade philosophy and see if it actually maps onto our civilian lives. We're going to break it down exactly how Jocko breaks down the book. The mindset, how to think, the actions, how to train and sleep, and the fuel, how to eat.
And we should start right where the book starts. The very first section is essentially a slap in the face to modern culture. It confronts the myth of the shortcut.
Oh, I love this part. It's so countercultural.
Yep.
We live in the era of the life hack, right?
We do.
You scroll through social media and it's all one weird trick to lose belly fat, or how to get rich with crypto in a week, or the secret productivity hack billionaires use.
Yes, the constant search for the easy button.
We are obsessed with optimization and finding the path of least resistance.
Well, it's human nature. I mean, who wouldn't want the result without the process? We want the gold without the digging. It makes perfect sense.
But Jocko opens the manual by essentially screaming, the shortcut is a lie.
It's the very first thing he says. He writes, and I'm quoting here, "People look for the hack, you won't find it." He's very clear that if you want to be stronger, smarter, faster, and healthier, there is no easy road.
None.
There is only hard work, late nights, early mornings, repetition, and study. He effectively shuts the door on the idea that you can cheat your way to excellence.
It's almost depressing to hear that, but also kind of liberating.
How so?
Well, it stops you from constantly searching for the magic bullet. You spend so much time looking for the hack that you could have just spent doing the work. This just says, stop looking. The work is the way.
That's a great point. It reorients your expectations. If you expect it to be easy, you quit when it gets hard. But if you accept that there is only hard work, as he puts it, then the difficulty doesn't surprise you. It doesn't derail you.
You just expect it.
Just push through it. It's part of the plan.
But this raises a huge question. If we can't rely on a guru or a hack, and it's just hard work, where does the discipline actually come from? Because I can know intellectually that I need to work hard but still sit on the couch. Who makes me do it?
Jocko addresses this head-on. He distinguishes between imposed discipline and self-discipline.
Okay.
He says, sure, a drill instructor can make you make your bed. A personal trainer can stand over you and count your reps. But that is external. It's weak.
Why is it weak?
Because it won't survive when that person isn't looking. The moment the drill instructor turns his back, what happens? The moment your trainer goes on vacation, do you still go to the gym? For most people, the answer is no.
So it has to come from within.
It has to be an internal force. He calls it a decision. And for the listener who is sitting there thinking, well, I'm just not a disciplined person, Jocko has this fantastic concept. He says, you aren't disciplined yet.
It's not yet. I love that.
It's such a simple but powerful addition. It reframes it as a temporary state. He argues that discipline isn't a genetic trait you're born with, like blue eyes or height. It's a choice you make.
A choice.
You can decide, right here and now, to become disciplined. You haven't created it yet, but you can start creating it immediately.
That's empowering. It removes the label of lazy person and replaces it with person who hasn't decided to start yet.
Exactly. It puts the power, the agency right back in your hands.
But to sustain that decision, you need a why. You need a drive. And in the text, Jocko gets incredibly personal about what drives him.
He does. And it's interesting because it shifts over time. He describes that when he was a young SEAL, his why was fear and preparation.
Yep.
Yeah. Fear of failure, but also a very real, tangible fear. He was preparing for war. He knew that somewhere across the world there was an enemy preparing to kill him.
That's a terrifying, but I have to imagine an incredibly effective motivator. He says he is working, training, planning to meet me on the battlefield.
Exactly. It's a zero-sum game. And he wanted to be ready physically and mentally so that when they met, he would win and the enemy would lose. That was the drive.
But then he retired. The war was over for him. He wasn't a soldier anymore. So the question became, what drives him now? The enemy isn't there in the same way.
And this is where the book gets really poignant. It's one of the most moving parts. He says he is driven by the men that did not come home.
Oh, wow.
Mark, Mikey, and Ryan. He names them. He says it's not just them, but the hundreds and thousands who died to give him the gift of freedom.
The freedom he's talking about in the title.
The very same. His perspective is that he's been given the gift of life, a gift they lost. They don't get to wake up early. They don't get to work out. They don't get to struggle with a project or feel sore or be tired.
So for him to waste his life, to waste a single minute being lazy or ungrateful, would be a fundamental disrespect to their sacrifice.
A betrayal, almost.
Yeah.
I will make it all count. That's the mantra.
Mm.
Now, obviously, most of us listening aren't combat veterans. We haven't lost platoon mates in a firefight. But I think the application is universal.
How do you mean?
Well, we all have people who sacrificed for us to be here. Parents who worked 2 jobs so you could go to college. Ancestors who survived hardships we can't even imagine.
It's about living a life worthy of the life you've been given.
Exactly. You don't need to be a soldier to feel the weight of that obligation.
Yeah.
If you view your time as this finite, precious gift that others were denied, wasting it on procrastination or negativity feels almost criminal.
It shifts the entire internal dialogue. It shifts from, I should work out, to, I have a duty to work out.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a duty.
That brings us perfectly into the next section, the mental warfare. Because even if you have the why, your brain is going to try to sabotage you.
Every single time.
And Jocko talks about mind control, but not in the, sci-fi controlling others way.
Right. Usually mind control implies controlling others or being brainwashed. Jocko reclaims the term. He says, you are the machine and you are the operator. You can control your own mind.
He has this very physiological view of it. He says, you are your mind. So if you want to stop eating sugar, you just stop eating sugar.
It sounds deceptively simple, I know. It sounds almost glib. But his point is about agency. He uses this phrase, Weakness doesn't get a vote.
I love that line. Laziness doesn't get a vote.
Negativity doesn't get a vote. He says you have to declare martial law on your own mind.
Martial law.
Yes. When those feelings come up, I'm tired, I'm sad, I don't want to, you don't negotiate with them. You don't have a debate with them. You treat them like an insurrection. You impose your will.
That is such a strong visual. Declaring martial law on your own laziness.
It's not a democracy inside your head where every feeling gets an equal say.
Yeah.
The commander, the disciplined part of you, is in charge. Period.
But what about when we're just stuck? We have a goal, we know we should do it, but we're procrastinating, we're over-planning, we're researching.
Jocko calls this the when and where to start problem. And his answer is consistent with everything else. Here and now.
He talks about how research can be a trap, right?
Absolutely. Huge trap.
Yeah.
He says, stop researching. Stop debating all the pros and cons. The book won't write itself. The weights won't move themselves.
I think so many of us fall into that. We feel productive because we're, I don't know, buying new running shoes or watching YouTube videos about proper deadlift form.
Or making a really detailed spreadsheet. He points out that often planning is just a sophisticated form of procrastination. We feel productive because we are color-coding a calendar, but we aren't actually doing the work.
So what's the command?
The only way to start is to initiate action immediately. He says, you initiate action, you go.
But sometimes, even when you start, you hit that wall. You're in the middle of a workout or a project and you just want to quit. Jocko talks about this state called destroyer mode or berserker mode.
This is a fascinating insight into the interplay between logic and emotion. Usually we're told to be logical, to be rational. But Jocko says both logic and emotion have breaking points.
What do you mean by that?
Well, sometimes logic fails you. Imagine you're at mile 20 of a marathon. Logic says, this hurts. You are damaging your body. Stopping makes perfect sense. In that moment, logic is your enemy.
It's telling you to quit.
Right? So Jocko says you have to switch to emotion. You use anger. You use frustration. You use defiance. You scream at the universe, I don't stop. You become a pure emotional force of will.
But then the reverse can happen, right? Emotion can fail you.
Exactly. Sometimes emotion says, I'm scared. I'm overwhelmed. I want to go home. Maybe you're about to give a big presentation and fear is just flooding your system.
In that moment, emotion is your enemy.
It's paralyzing you. So you have to switch to logic. You tell yourself, if I stop now, I fail. If I keep moving, I survive and succeed. Therefore, I must keep moving. You break it down into a simple, logical imperative.
So destroyer mode isn't just blind rage. It's the ability to toggle between your brain and your heart to keep the machine moving forward no matter what.
Precisely. It's using whichever tool works in the moment to uphold the prime directive, which is just those 4 words. I don't stop he.
There is another enemy he identifies in the mind, and he quotes Shakespeare to describe it, which I found really interesting. This is the concept of hesitation.
Yes, he references Julius Caesar, specifically Brutus. The quote is about the interim between the acting of a dreadful thing and the first motion. Shakespeare describes it as a phantasma or a hideous dream.
It's that nightmare pause, the moment before you jump off the high dive, the moment before you have the hard conversation.
That's it. And Jocko says that gap, that hesitation, is where the fear grows. The longer you wait, the bigger the monster becomes in your mind.
So hesitation is like fertilizer for fear.
That's a great way to put it. Hesitation allows the enemy, your own internal weakness, to get the upper hand. The only cure for that fear is action. He reduces it to 2 words. Step, go.
Step, go. Don't think, just move.
Just move. Close the gap.
Now, moving forward, we have to talk about how to handle it when things actually go wrong. Because you can have all the discipline in the world and life will still punch you in the face.
Inevitably.
And Jocko has a very specific one-word response to adversity.
Good.
Just good, that's it.
That's it. He tells a story about a subordinate who would come to him with problems. Boss, the mission got canceled. Jocko would say, good. Boss, we didn't get the gear we needed. Good. Eventually, the guy realized Jocko was going to say good to everything.
It sounds almost like a joke or like he's being dismissive, but it's a philosophy, right? It's a whole framework.
It's a profound reframing technique. And it's not toxic positivity where you just pretend everything is rainbows.
Right, it's not everything is fine when your house is on fire.
No, not at all. It's about accepting reality immediately and pivoting to the solution. It's about finding the opportunity in the obstacle.
Let's break down some of the examples he gives because they are really practical.
Okay. Mission canceled. Good. Now we can focus on another one. We're not wasting resources on that anymore.
Didn't get promoted.
Good. More time to get better. Clearly I wasn't ready, so this gives me time to improve, so I'm undeniable next time.
Got injured.
Good. I probably needed a break from training anyway. Now I can focus on healing up, maybe work on some other skills.
Unexpected problems.
Good. We have the opportunity to figure out a solution, which will make us smarter and more capable for the next time.
It stops you from pitying yourself. It completely short-circuits that woe is me cycle.
It does. It forces you to look for the tactical advantage in the disaster. Instead of dwelling on the bad, you're already executing on the good.
He applies this to office politics too, which I think everyone listening can relate to. Gossip, backstabbing, people talking smack.
And his strategy there is just so beautifully simple. Ignore and outperform.
Simple. No clever comebacks, no political maneuvering.
Nope. He says while they are talking, you are working. While they are focusing on what everyone else is doing wrong, you are focusing on what you can do right.
Let your work speak for you.
Exactly. Eventually, looking at the scoreboard, you win, they lose. You don't need to engage in the drama. Your results are the undeniable answer.
But then he takes this good philosophy to the absolute extreme. He applies it to death. And honestly, when I first read that header, I recoiled a bit. How can death be good?
It is a hard pill to swallow. It's probably the most challenging application of the entire philosophy.
So how does he frame it?
His perspective is rooted in gratitude and obligation. He says, first, be thankful you had them at all. Be thankful for the memories and the mark they left on you. That is the good you can find.
Finding the good in the time you had.
Yes. And then there's the obligation part.
Which goes back to his why.
It goes right back to Mark, Mikey, and Ryan. He says you must live for them. Because they're gone, they no longer have the opportunity to laugh, to work, to see the sunrise. So when you are mourning, if you just stop living, you are wasting the time they would have given anything to have.
So the good is the opportunity to live a life that honors their memory.
I will live to honor their sacrifice. It is a heavy, powerful way to process grief. It turns mourning into action. It turns loss into fuel.
That is the essence of the entire book, isn't it? Everything is fuel.
Everything is fuel.
Let's shift gears to the practical application. We've talked mindset a lot. Now let's talk actions, the physical domain. And it all starts before the sun comes up.
Dan, too.
Explain that term for us.
It's a military term. It comes from trench warfare, actually. In World War I, soldiers had to be on the fire step of the trench, rifles loaded, bayonets fixed before dawn.
Why then specifically?
Because dawn is when the enemy likes to attack. It's a time of low visibility, people are groggy. It's the most vulnerable time. So you had to be awake and ready before the light. You had to own the morning.
And Jocko says we need to apply this to our lives. But why so early? What is the tactical advantage of 4:30 a.m. in a civilian life? We're not fighting off an enemy attack.
He argues that we are. We're fighting against emails, traffic distractions, other people's priorities. He calls the early morning the one time a day that no one can take from you.
It's yours.
It is pure ownership. There are no emails yet, no kids screaming, no traffic. It's just you and the work. You get a head start on the entire world.
And psychologically, what's the benefit there?
It's the first victory of the day. He talks about the battle with the alarm clock. That warm bed is weakness calling you. It's comfort. It's the easy path.
The snooze button is the enemy.
The snooze button is the enemy. If you hit snooze, you have lost the very first engagement of the day. You've started your day with a defeat. But if you get up, you've won. You have momentum before you've even had coffee.
He has a very simple instruction for how to wake up early. There's no fancy trick.
No. His advice is set the alarm and get out of bed. No negotiation.
No hitting snooze and telling yourself, just 5 more minutes.
He says, when the alarm clock goes off, get up. He doesn't offer a magic tea or a light therapy lamp. He offers discipline. That's the only tool you need.
Now, he does acknowledge that we need sleep. He's not telling us to run on 3 hours a night forever.
Correct. He's very clear on the biological necessity of sleep hormone regulation, muscle recovery, glucose metabolism. He's not anti-sleep. He's anti-weakness.
So his solution for lack of sleep isn't sleeping in?
No, because that ruins your morning victory. His solution is going to bed earlier.
Which requires discipline in the evening, putting the phone away, turning off the TV.
It does. It requires you to control your evenings just as much as your mornings.
Yeah.
And he gives a funny but practical tip for falling asleep.
What's that?
He says if you read to fall asleep, don't read a thriller. Don't read something that gets your dopamine going and keeps you turning pages. Read a boring educational manual, a textbook, something dry. He says it will knock you right out.
That's great advice. He also talks about the power nap. And there was a specific technique he learned from a high school teacher.
Yes, his anatomy teacher, which is pretty funny. The technique is to elevate your feet above your heart.
So you lie on the floor and put your feet up on a couch.
Exactly. Or a chair,
Mm.
or against the wall. The idea is to help the circulatory system return blood from the legs with less effort.
Mhm.
Jocko swears by it. 10 to 15 minutes. He says it just resets the system.
Okay, so we are up early, we're rested, now we have to train. He calls it PT, or physical training. And the mandate here is incredibly broad but strict. The most important thing is to do something.
Something, anything. Walk, run, lift, swim, fight. He rejects the excuse of, I don't have the perfect equipment, or I don't have time for a full hour.
So if you only have 10 minutes, do 10 minutes of burpees in your living room.
Exactly. Do something. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Just get moving.
He talks about the gym as therapy, too. It's not just about, aesthetics or looking good.
No, that's a side effect. He says the gym makes you sharper and calmer. And he brings up a really interesting physiological point about stress.
Okay.
When we are stressed, our body releases cortisol and glucose. It's the fight or flight response. We are primed to fight a bear or run away from it.
But usually we are just sitting in traffic or staring at a spreadsheet. The bear isn't real.
Exactly. We have all this fight fuel in our blood and nowhere to put it. So it becomes toxic. It raises blood pressure. It causes anxiety. It eats away at us.
I see where this is going.
By working out, Jocko says we are literally using the stress reaction for its intended purpose.
Yeah.
We are fighting the weights. We are fleeing on the treadmill. It resolves the biological loop. It gives that energy a purpose.
So exercise is literally the cure for the physiological symptoms of stress. It's burning off the poison.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
Now, let's look at the actual workouts, because the field manual has a whole appendix full of them. And again, looking at the source images, this isn't a Chrome and Mirrors fancy gym.
No, not at all. It's dumbbells on stained concrete. It's pull-up bars made of pipe. The aesthetic is function. It's about work, not comfort.
He breaks it down into 3 levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced. What does the beginner level look like?
The beginner workouts focus on volume and consistency. It's about building the habit and getting your body used to moving. A lot of body weight movements. Push-ups, pull-ups, squats. He uses the push-pull squat framework.
Simple and effective. And as you move to intermediate,
You introduce iron, lift. He breaks the week into splits. Push days, pull days, lift days, which usually implies heavier compound movements like deadlifts,
yeah,
and squat days. He also introduces dedicated gut work, which is his term for core and metcon.
Metcon stands for metabolic conditioning, right? That sounds intense.
It is. It's high-intensity work. Sprints, burpees, kettlebell swings, things that make your lungs burn and get your heart rate through the roof.
And then advanced. What does that entail?
High volume, high technical skill. He introduces complex Olympic lifts and gymnastic movements. Things like muscle-ups, clean and jerks, snatches. These are movements that require a lot of practice and coordination.
And he throws in challenges too, like the Tabata protocol. What is that?
Tabata is a specific interval structure. It's 20 seconds of maximum all-out work, followed by 10 seconds of rest.
That's it.
You repeat that for 8 rounds, so it only lasts 4 minutes total. But if you do it with something like deadlifts or handstand push-ups, as Jocko suggests, it is absolutely brutal. It's maybe the hardest 4 minutes of your day.
It sounds awful. I love it. But the underlying theme of all the workouts at every level is consistency. He has this no days off mentality. But does he mean literally you can never rest?
It's more metaphorical. He means you never break the habit.
Okay.
If you are sick or injured or exhausted, you still do something. Maybe you just stretch for 15 minutes. Maybe you just go to the gym and do some light mobility work. The point is, you keep the routine, you show up.
You don't let the I'm taking a day off mentality creep in, because one day becomes 2 and 2 becomes a week, and suddenly the habit is broken.
Exactly. Discipline begets discipline. You have to feed it every day, even if it's just a small meal.
Okay, let's move to fuel, nutrition. This is where he attacks some of our most beloved vices.
He declares war on sugar. There's no other way to put it.
He calls it sugar-coated lies.
He does. He identifies sugar as a drug. He says it lights up the pleasure centers of the brain in the same way as heroin or cocaine. And he is absolutely brutal about the office donut.
What does he say?
He writes, "Those donuts aren't food. They are poison," in all caps.
It's extreme but effective. If you look at a donut and see poison instead of treat, it fundamentally changes your decision-making process.
It does. And he argues from an evolutionary standpoint for his preferred diet. He advocates a paleo or caveman style of eating.
What's the logic there?
The logic is that agriculture, so grains, wheat, processed carbs, is a relatively new invention in human history, maybe 10,000 years old. Our genetics are much, much older. He argues we simply aren't adapted to eat that stuff.
So what's on the yes list? What should we be eating?
Beef, he specifies grass-fed. Poultry, fish, eggs, nuts, vegetables, fungi, roots. Basically, if you could hunt it or gather it 20,000 years ago, you should eat it.
And the no list?
Grains, potatoes, refined sugar, processed oils, legumes. Anything that comes in a box or a wrapper is usually out.
Now, a lot of people try to do the 80-20 rule. I'll be healthy 80% of the time and enjoy myself 20% of the time. Jocko hates this rule.
He hates it because he views us as addicts. He asked the question, would you tell a cocaine addict, hey, just use cocaine 20% of the time?
Of course not.
No, because 20% quickly becomes 40%, then 60%, then 100%. He says you have to hold the line, aim for 100% clean. If you slip and hit 99%, okay, get back on the path, but don't plan the slip. Don't build failure into your system.
No scheduled cheat days.
No, every day is a clean day.
He also talks about fasting. And this is where he tackles the sensation of hunger, which I think a lot of people struggle with.
We are so dramatic about hunger, aren't we? We skip lunch and say, I'm starving.
Right. It feels like an emergency.
And Jocko just says, you are not starving. Again, in all caps, he points out that humans can go 30 days without food. You were just empty. Your stomach is empty. It's not a crisis.
It's just a feeling.
It's just a signal. He frames fasting not as suffering, but as recalibrating those signals and as a tool for burning fat. It stabilizes your insulin levels. It's a health reset.
It really is all about reframing sensations. Hunger isn't an emergency. It's a signal you can ignore. Fatigue isn't a stop sign. It's a hurdle.
Every time.
This leads us to the final section, lifestyle and attitude. How does this discipline manifest in the day-to-day grind?
Well, for one, it manifests in the rejection of the weekend.
Every day is Monday.
That's the chapter title. He rejects the idea that you work for 5 days just to escape for 2, that TGIF mentality. He says, weakness doesn't take the weekend off. The enemy doesn't take the weekend off.
So neither do you.
So neither does he. Every day is an opportunity to attack, to get better, to move forward. Monday is just another day.
It's that relentless forward motion. He also addresses the classic debate of nature versus nurture. Are we born this way or are we raised this way?
And in true Jocko fashion, he says, neither. It doesn't matter. It's a waste of time to even debate it.
So what does matter?
He says he's seen rich kids with every advantage fail and poor kids from terrible situations succeed. He's seen people from abusive homes become great leaders. He argues it is entirely about choice.
It's the ultimate accountability. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame your genetics.
None of it. You can choose to be the person you want to be. It's not too late. You are never too old to decide where you are going. That is the message.
What about regret? We all have things we messed up. Jocko seems like a guy who doesn't dwell.
Not at all. He says regret is worthless unless it is a lesson. If you are just wallowing in it, it's a waste of energy.
So what do you do with it?
You extract the data. You figure out why you failed. You learn the lesson so you don't repeat the mistake, and then you say no more to the past. You move on. The past is for learning, not for living.
And finally, the topic of motivation. We touched on this at the beginning, but he really hammers it home at the end.
This might be the most important takeaway from the entire book. Motivation is a feeling. It's an emotion. It comes and goes.
It's unreliable.
Completely unreliable. Some days you feel like working out, some days you don't. If you only work when you feel like it, you will fail. It's that simple.
Don't count on motivation, count on discipline.
Discipline is the machine. The machine works whether it feels like it or not. The alarm goes off, the machine gets up, it's time to work out, the machine works out. It forces you to do the work when you don't want to.
Yeah.
That is the secret.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we return to the central image of the book, the warpath.
The warpath. And it sounds violent, but Jocko defines it as a right toward a battle against weakness, against ignorance, against confusion, against your own lesser self.
And where does that path lead? What's at the end of the war?
It leads to ownership, it leads to strength, and ultimately, as the title promises, it leads to peace and freedom. But you have to walk the path. There are no shortcuts.
And that brings us to the final call to action. Jocko ends the book with a very short, very clear instruction. He says, don't just listen to this deep dive. Don't just plan. Don't just take notes.
He just gives the final order. Get up and go.
That's it. That's the takeaway. The analysis is done. The only thing left is the doing.
The dichotomy is resolved. Strict discipline is the only path to total freedom.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into discipline equals freedom. Go get after it. We'll see you next time.